Hello, this is Jill Slinker, the Director of the Department of Student Programs for the Indiana Association of School Principals. Thank you so much for volunteering or being voluntold that you are going to be a scorekeeper for this competition. You are going to be known essentially as the room scorekeeper. There are two scorekeepers. There's the room scorekeeper and the central scorekeeper. You are going to be the room scorekeeper for the Quiz Bowl competition. We would like you to make sure that you are ready for this competition. We want you to familiarize yourself with the score sheet and to familiarize yourself with the basics of the contest. And I will provide you that information in the webinar today. So let's think about this. Your responsibilities before each match: you will need to record the team member names on the score sheet. You will need to check names against the roster that is provided. You'll need to label team names on the score sheet and label the round number and room letter. Quiz Bowl basics. What do you need to know about the competition itself? Well, each round consists of 22 toss-up questions, and teams may substitute all but the captain after question 11. Now, each toss-up question is worth either 15 or 10 points, depending upon when it is answered. If the question is answered before the power mark, which is indicated by an asterisk on the question, then the team will be awarded 15 points. The reader will indicate if the team received the power points by saying power after the team has answered. If the question is answered correctly after the power mark, well, then the team only earns 10 points. If a team interrupts the reader before the question is finished and gets the answer wrong, they receive a -5 points. The team who answers correctly will get the opportunity to answer 3 bonus questions worth 10 points each. The other team does not have a chance at these questions. Anyone on the team, may collaborate on the bonus questions. The toss-up questions must be answered by the individual who buzzed in without any consultation with anyone. The bonus questions should be answered by the captain, but may have full consultation with the teammates. So let's look at the score sheet basics here. What are you going to see when you sit down as the scorekeeper? This is the top of the score sheet, and you will be given a roster by the team members. Okay, and you can write down the roster names. They will indicate who is playing. And then when you're done with it, go ahead and give it back to the team captain. They are carrying this from room to room. So for the round, you need to write down what round it is. RR1 stands for round robin 1. By putting round robin or bracket or whatever, that will help you indicate whether you're dealing with a morning score sheet or an afternoon score sheet, just to keep everything in good organizational form for the host. You also need to indicate what room letter. Now, the host is going to assign whatever classroom to a room letter, but we've already created all of the round robin rotations based on this letter system. And so you need to use the letter that it has been assigned rather than the specific room number. Now, we have our team members: Captain Kurt Vonnegut, and the team is Lou Wallace and Booth Tarkington, J.W. Riley. So, I wonder what these 4 have in common. Well, they are going to be playing against Tennessee Williams, William Faulkner, Harper Lee, and Flannery O'Connor. Gee, can you tell I used to be an English teacher? Well, we have the team North, or more specifically, the team Indiana authors, versus the team South, the Southern authors. So we would also make sure that we put the team name in where it indicates. And so all you have to do on the top, you do that before the match itself begins. Well, then, what do we do as the match continues? You move down. You notice we have the team name at the top here, And this is what the basic score sheet is going to look like. Now, there are 22 slots of this because there are 22 toss-up questions, but this is a good screenshot so that you can play with it a little bit. First thing that you need to notice is this center area. The center area labeled TQ1 stands for toss-up question and then the number. And so each question has a side for the left side for the north team and a side for the right side for the south team. And you will be putting something in that line for each of the teams. So if you look here on the left, and it is mirrored again over here on the right, you have a spot to indicate how many points they got on the toss-up. Either 15 if they got the power. Now notice I also put an asterisk there by the 15. When you put down a 15, if the team gets a 15, out in the margin or out to the left, put a star or an asterisk, because you're going to have to find those scores later, and it's a great way to be able to spot them easily as you go back. If they get the question just at the regular spot, they get 10 points. If they interrupt the question and get the answer wrong when they interrupt the question, the reader will tell you -5 or -5 or -5, and you put that in the same spot. If they do that, if they do get a -5, you'll then go over to the other side to indicate what's going to happen with the other team. But I'll explain that all as we go here. The next spot, the next big category, is for the bonus points. So there are 3 little spots there for bonus points. There are 10 points per question, and so you put the 10 in each of the slots. So if you answer the toss-up correctly, they're going to get that series of 3 bonus questions. Give them the 10 points. If it's incorrect for that one little question, mark an X. Okay, there are 30 points possible for the bonus points. Now, what do you do? Excuse me. What do you do if neither team answers correctly? If neither team answers correctly, you need to place an X over the number in the toss-up question box, and then an X under toss-up and an X under toss-up for both of the teams. If one team gets it and the other team does not, in the toss-up, you need to put an X in the team that did not get the answer. And you'll see that filled out here in a few minutes. In this box, you just simply add the toss-up and the bonus together. And in the cumulative score box, you want to keep a running total of the score. This just helps you as you get to the end. It prevents you from having to add things up as you go along. And it also makes sure that you keep everything accurately as we go. So that's the basics on the scoring section of the score sheet. Now, at the bottom of the score sheet, there's information you're going to need to fill out as well. Obviously, I don't have it filled up for questions 21 and 22 at the top here, but if it had been filled in, okay, you would have marks at this point. But the first thing that you'll need to do is you will need to transfer the score, the cumulative score, into where it says final score for both teams. One team may not have a score for the last 10 questions. So you're going to have to go up and look for it. One team may have one in the last line. That's fine. You need to record it there. Once you record the score, then circle winner next to the winning team. Okay. Then there are a couple of other final entries that you will need to do. You will need to go over to where you put the scores themselves and count up how many scores of 15 they got. So if they got the power bonus on 4 separate questions, they'll have a 4. Now, we didn't put a spot on the answer sheet for this because we were trying to keep the answer sheet to 1 page and we were running out of room for explanations. So for the team on the left, if you'll just indicate with an asterisk In this white box that they got 4 powers, we count up the ones on the right, they got 3 powers, and put that in that box, then the central scorekeeper will have the information that he or she needs. So once we've transferred the scores for each team to the final score box, we've circled winner for the correct team, we've recorded the number of 15s that they received, then you need to have each team captain sign to verify that they agree with the score that you are turning in. So we have them sign, excuse me, and then you will sign as the scorekeeper for that round, verifying that the scores are correct. So, scoring examples. This is just a score sheet that we used for our team of the North and the South. And you'll notice over here, we have a variety of types of scores. Some were right, some were wrong. And then we had our points at the bottom, right? So this is what a handwritten score is going to look like. Obviously, you're not going to get one that has been typed up neatly. So hopefully if they've had mistakes that they had to make, like in mathematics, that they neatly corrected them for you. You may see a line underneath 11, or you may put a line underneath 11. That just to me indicated that they would put substitutions in at that point. It was just a reminder, a visual reminder that they're going to have subs at that point. So let's take a look at a couple of these sections a little bit more closely, okay? So you have a typical score here, North versus South. On question 1, the North buzzed in after the power. They got the answer right. They were then given 3 bonus questions. The first bonus question they got right. They missed the second one, got the third one right. 10, 20, 30. Bonus plus toss-up is 30. Obviously, it's the first question, so they only have 30 as the cumulative score. I need to go over here and put an X for the South, and that will save me in case they get an answer that it helps me put the score in the right spot and not slide up one and get all confused. So we go to question number 2. North also got that one, 10, missed all 3 of the bonuses. So we put an X in all 3 of the bonus spots. So they only got 10 for that question. Now we have a cumulative score of 40. Third question, they managed to get the power. They got it, and they got it right, and they got it right before the power. They then were on a roll and got all 3 bonus questions. So the maximum point value for a question is going to be 45 points. They got 15 and then 30 for all the bonuses. They got 45. That popped them up to 85 points. Team South still hasn't answered. Those guys from Indiana are pretty bright. Question number 4. They got it after the power, got 10, missed the first 2 bonus questions, but got the third. So they have 20 points. They're now, after 4 questions, at 105 points, and the South has another X. Then, North didn't get that one, so they have an X in their spot. Okay, we put an X here. We give the points to the South. They then got all 3 bonus questions, and now after 1 question, they are at 40 points. So it may seem like one team's going to run away with it with 4 questions, but it may not be as far apart as you would expect it to be. So that's a typical score. We always have the, well, what ifs. What if this situation occurs or that situation occurs? Well, we thought about that. Okay, well, what do you do if the team gets a power? We've talked about that already. If the team is awarded a PowerPoint, you need to make sure that in the margin, either to the left of the line or in that you indicate it with a star or an asterisk, so that later when you go back to count them, it's pretty simple to find. Okay, well, what if neither team gets it right? If neither team gets it right, you need to do 2 things. You need to put an X over the number in the center to indicate nobody got it right. And then, again, to keep you line by line where you need to be, go ahead and put an X in the toss-up box. So an X here and an X here in the toss-up box indicating nobody got it. If you want to put a 0 for accumulation because it was the first question, you could do that. but you don't necessarily need to do that. The points just stay the same. Same thing here. We've missed another one. I didn't indicate a 0. It doesn't make any difference at that point. Okay. So again, you put an X in the center, an X for team 1, an X for team 2, and then we need to move on. Okay. Well, that's the first what if. Well, what if a team gets a -5? How do you deal with that on a -5? So for example, our team number 2 here, our South team, buzzes in early on a question and they get a -5. Well, they had only accumulated 10 points up until that point. So I just need to subtract the 5 from the accumulated 10, which gives them 5 points. So you put that on there. In the same space, the other team gets the opportunity to answer. It's still question number 6 for this point. So they still get the opportunity to answer. So they buzzed in, they got the answer right, but not before the power. They got the bonus. They have 2 out of the 3 bonuses, so that's 30 points total, and that brings the total up from where they were to 125. So we need to make sure when we do the negatives, the other team gets the chance on the same line to answer that question. That's just a matter of paying attention to what line you're on when you're writing the answer down. Well, what if the team buzzes in, gets it wrong, buzzes in early, gets it wrong, buzzes in really early and gets it wrong, and then the other team answers it before the power. Okay, so the team that buzzed in really early and got it wrong, again, gets the -5 points, and then their cumulative score 5 is taken from the 75, which was cumulative, so now their cumulative score is 70. On the same line, the other team buzzed in early enough to get the power. So they buzzed in before the power mark. They got it right. They got the bonuses. They have now 45 points more. And again, it's on the same line. And because they got the power, make sure to indicate with a star or an asterisk or something in the margin that they received a power. So what do you do when you have finished scoring the match? Okay, you need to verify that the scores are correct. You need to count and record the number of powers achieved by each team in that white space that I showed you. You need to transfer the final scores to the correct spot, and you need to have the captain sign the sheet, and then you can sign the sheet. And then you need to send or take, depends upon how your host has it organized. Take that score sheet to the central scorekeeper to record on the central score recording sheet. Okay, it's as simple as that. Thank you for your attention to this webinar. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to email me, Jill Slinker, at jslinker@iasp.org, and I'll do everything I can to help you with this. We are planning on putting visuals of this PowerPoint, not all of them, but the significant visuals, in a handout for you for the day of the competition. So if you need a visual reminder, you will have that as well. Once again, thanks again, and have fun at the competition.